What's up, everybody? Anthony here, Empire Music, empiremusic.com. Phone number of the shop, 412-343-5299. Today showing you a new one from Fender USA, which is always exciting. This is the American Professional Classic Series. What this is a jazz bass, kind of modeled 60s style, so pickups are in 60s position. The finishes make me think of 60s. This one is in faded Fiesta Red. I also have it next to me in 3-color Sunburst. And the only one that's missing from the lineup here today is Faded Fire Mist Gold. Really nice finish. The Sunburst and the Gold are with a rosewood fretboard. The Fiesta Red here is with the maple fretboard on there. Some of the specs going on, pretty standard stuff. You have an alder body. The classic, although not the original, I don't think, the classic 3-knob setup, so you have volume, volume, and a master tone. The pickups are Coastline 62 jazz bass pickups. Yeah, Coastline 62 jazz bass pickups. Those are pickups that are based off of the pure vintage pickups from the American Vintage 2 series. And we'll get back into some of the kind of comparisons or the amalgamation that this bass is that involves the American Vintage 2. But the pickups are a little bit overwound, a little on the hot side. I like the voicing of them, and we'll kind of jump through some of the tones on them. Modern C neck profile, which feels slim, but not too slim. Slimmer than what the Modern C felt like on the P-bass version of this. You know, my mind always plays tricks on me when I get to these like 1.5-inch nut spacing, which this is. The neck profiles always feel, even if they're labeled the same thing, when I get them on these thinner necks width-wise, they always feel thinner to me than kind of dimensionally what they are. 9.5 fretboard radius, medium jumbo frets, synthetic bone nut. Top adjust truss rod adjustment here, which is nice. You have access to that. What I think is really, really cool on these basses, the P basses, the Mustang bass, you got the lollipop tuners, which I think just look awesome. You have these these don't have the rounded knobs. The P bass has the rounded metallic knobs, and I just looked down and noted these are the standard plastic knobs. I really like that on the P bass. I wouldn't like that on the jazz bass. Thinking about that, give me the standard black kind of whatever they call it, like the top hat knobs or whatever you call those. Just give me the lollipop tuners on this. I love it. On any bass, lollipop tuners just look so good. What else are we the grease bucket control. So that's kind of a different tone circuit than we typically would see from an American Pro 2 bass. You don't see it on basses all that often. I know it's a feature they put on there. I don't think it's a feature that when it's on a bass, I notice it much. And when it's not on a bass, I'm calling for it. It doesn't hurt anything being there. We'll kind of walk through. I do think as you roll the tone knob back, things stay very even on the bass. That's never a bad thing. I'm buying this bass more for gateway into USA production line, buying it for the pickups. I'm buying it because the lollipop tuners, the vintage kind of vibe that you're getting out of this bass, but on a modern package, which kind of leads me back to that American Vintage 2 comparison. So we have a bass here that is flirting with American Vintage 2. Its DNA is in the American Pro 2 lineup, the satin neck, the urethane finish. You don't have a nitro finish on it. It's very comfortable. I think the classic finishes are nice on it. The red tortoiseshell guard looks great on this particular finish. Just think it kind of really screams vintage bass, whether we're talking about the P or the J, but it has the feel of that. I think that a modern player would appreciate. This is a workhorse bass. I think you could do really anything with this line of bass. And it comes in at a nice price point to dip into USA production line. I would record on this bass. I'd record on the P bass. I'd record on the Mustang bass. I'd gig on all those basses. I think they're very, very nice. I think this was always a troublesome spot in the Fender lineup. If we go back to whatever, I think it was the American, maybe they called it the Classic, whatever predated the American Performer bass or guitars or whatever. I always thought that they missed the mark a little bit on that entry level into USA production line stuff, into Fender USA stuff. I think they really hit the mark on this and gave a lot of players what they're asking for. I think you're seeing the modern buyer, the modern player wants a little bit of vintage. I think more players would lean vintage than modern, specifically when we get into jazz basses and P basses, active electronics, things like that. That's obviously moving in a different direction. And I'm not speaking as from a guitar player perspective. But I think as bassists, the trend is leaning vintage. This gives you some of that. I will say, as you hear these pickups, the P bass was inherently dark in this series, and I like that. And the jazz bass is brighter, a little brasher on top. I kind of like that for the jazz bass because it accentuates that scooped out sound when you have tone on full. I'm gonna dive into this. So we have the maple board here. We'll go back and forth between maple and rosewood to kind of compare those. But I had tone back at like my sweet spot where I'm usually always gonna roll with a bass, specifically when I'm playing through an amp, at that like 85 mark. So here's full tone, both pickups wide open. Here, it's bright, it's really punchy on the top end. Start to roll that tone back into that little sweet spot of mine, that 85. That sounds really, really nice. And if you just want that extra bite, that extra bark, turn that tone knob up. And check it out with the tone all the way off. We talk about that grease bucket control, helping keep everything even. I think it does that. However, on a bass, to me, it sounds like a bass with the tone rolled off. Whether it's a shortcoming of my own ear or own preferences, or lack thereof, I should say. That's not something that I'm thinking, oh, thank God that grease bucket control's on there. And conversely, I don't play a Fender custom shop that doesn't have grease bucket and say, oh my, this really needs the grease bucket control on there. Now, I'd love to know the thoughts of a guitar player out there. Is that something that you need or you feel is a big difference on a Strat or a Tele? Because we think about the frequency range that we each live in. So like we're bass players, we're supporting the low end. Where guitar players obviously lie in a different frequency spectrum to, you know, have their part successfully in a group setting, right? Is that something that you feel is needed out there? Does that really kind of help keep everything even and not get too woofy and too warm whenever you roll tone off? Again, as a bassist, I don't mind that it's on there, but I also I don't know that I'd miss it on other basses. So that's kind of a moot point to me. Not a plus or a minus for it. I say the big plus though, it's just the feel of the instrument. The DNA of it is really split between the modern and the vintage, and I think they do it really well. I'll say this too, both of these right out of the box, I don't think I did any setup on this one. I gave the truss rod one quick turn on this, really just tuned it up and we were kind of in the go zone. So it's nice. Now let's take a look at maple versus rosewood here. We're gonna play something very, very simple and we're gonna kind of compare the two. So maple with full tone. So you hear there when we get the rosewood in our hands. Now I said this in the P-Bass video too, and I don't know which one of these is going to be public first, but hopefully these are all launching the same day. So I'm not speaking out of turn chronologically here. You know, I get asked a lot, like, well, what do you like, maple or rosewood? And I really like them both. I'm lucky to have both things in my arsenal. You really hear the difference on the rosewood and the maple in that upfront portion of the note, that transient, that moment where the most aggressive portion of playing a note is right up front as your finger interacts or your pick interacts with the string, interacting with the fret and interacting with the fretboard. And rosewood really tames that transient, that upfront part of the note. Maple kind of enhances that, doesn't round it out. It puts it to a sharper kind of point if we're looking at it, where, you know, I say point like that, you know, and then rosewood essentially kind of rounds that out a little bit because it's a slightly soft, considerably softer wood on it. Now we're gonna keep with the rosewood here, the three-tone summers, and I misspoke earlier. As I was swapping out basses, Brent reminded me there. I said faded Fiesta Red. This is actually faded Dakota Red on that, so I apologize for it. Looking at it though, you can see how I could make that mistake because it's faded. So it looks like regular Fiesta Red. Fading Dakota Red makes it look like Fiesta Red maybe. So yeah, my mind was playing tricks on me there, but faded Dakota Red, so sorry about that. So let's go. We'll go full, we just did full tone. Let's roll that tone back on the rosewood to that sweet spot of mine, 85, 90%. You know, it's funny. I get the tone knob there and I instantly feel very at home on a jazz bass. These things sound really, really good and they're fun to play. These are nice basses. Ah. Roll some tone back even more. We get to that like 40, 50. And that's really where I'm starting to hear it become like a tone off thing. To me, this is total personal opinion on it. When a tone knob on almost any bass is at like 85%, to me that's like full. That's like where I want the sound to be. Really nice mid-range on that. The good clarity and kind of punch through it. So let's go just front pickup on there. Let's bring some tone back in. 85. That's that rubber bandy kind of P bass thing you expect out of a J, and then just bridge. I've said it before, you know my feeling when I'm trying to hear like the mid-range pronunciation of a bass is playing those ninth chords and making sure that those notes ring out. Just hearing that note separation, I think that's really nice, and you kind of do it on the neck pickup too. It's always a little muddier on that pickup, but you still hear it. It still sounds sweet enough. And then back to middle position. Now let's jump over back to the maple. All right, back to maple. We got that 85% tone spot. Kind of do the same thing. Both pickups wide open. I really hear the difference on the maple versus the rosewood. Going back to back, you know, when you play one for so long, you kind of forget about it. When you are lucky enough to get the chance to A-B them, you really, really hear where, again, that front portion of the note, the very, very immediate response to your finger to fretboard, it's crystal clear. And then front pickup, so neck pickup. Ah. And then bridge pickup. Oh, you hear maple again, like the how that note pronounces on the maple is just different than the rosewood. Not good or bad, not better or worse, just different. And then back to both pickups. Nice punch, nice clarity to it. It's great basses. Really enjoyed playing the P bass. I'm enjoying playing the jazz bass. It's a bass I think checks a lot of boxes for a lot of people. Price-wise, it's a comfortable entry point into USA production line stuff with Fender. There's a quality factor that comes along with that, regardless of what you're going to read in the forums or possibly in the comment section of this video. You know, the USA plant is turning out good instruments, like any other company. You know, majority of the instruments are rock solid. Unfortunately, what happens is, you know, the ones that are bad that hopefully don't make the, I mean, from Empire Music, they shouldn't make their way into a customer's hands because we do a full factory setup, inspection, whatever you want to call it. Like, we have a pretty keen eye on that stuff as it moves through the building here and hopefully out to you, and get you a great playing experience. But, you know, the dissatisfied customer is always a lot louder than the 50 other satisfied customers. Not even from Empire Music, but from in instruments as a whole, or probably any product, cars, golf clubs, whatever it be, fishing equipment, not that I fish, but assuming that anywhere that there's a consumer spending money on things and having an expectation on the product, the bad experiences, the one bad experience rings a lot louder than the multiple great experiences. But I'll say right out of the box, in a line that I didn't really have any expectations for, because I always felt like Fender in the past, they didn't do a great job marketing or making the product that I think the customer wanted at that entry point into the USA production line. And I really think with this American Professional Classics, they hit the nail on the head. They gave the American Pro 2 features, the modern features to the players that want that feel. And you know, the neck profile and just again the fit and finish of the instrument. They added some vintage touches in the bridge, the voicing of the pickups. Although the pickups in the jazz bass I think are a little more modern than the pickups that were in the P bass, but you got the lollipop tuners on there too, and you have it in kind of classic finishes. So I think it's cool. American Professional Classic Series, new one, Fender USA. Any questions at all, give me a call personally in the shop, 412-343-5299. Questions on this, questions on anything that you see on the website, bass related, don't hesitate to reach out. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time. Thank you.